Today is all about growing pears here in Arizona. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here in September. So if you guys have been following us along, you know that we have over 180 fruiting trees, vines, and shrubs here on this newly established 6-acre farm in Arizona. Now what you see behind me here are several different types of pear trees, which is something we really haven't covered here with you guys. We actually have some in some of the older parts of Phoenix. These trees are 40, 50, even 60 feet tall, and almost, if not just as wide. So some of these trees can get very large. So if you guys are in a backyard setting and you want to keep these more controlled, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of pruning. You'll need to start with a very, very short trunk. So you want to cut those back when you plant them, and then you're going to want to train them and prune them heavy each year to keep them low. But that's not what we're worried about here. With one exception, these trees have all been in the ground for right at about 4 years. We planted these, some in the spring or the fall of 2020, and we're in 2024. All of the pears that you're seeing today, except for one, are actually either from Reed at RSI Growers that are his, or he actually propagated them for us off of cuttings from the old farm. And that's where the Asian pears came from. One of the things you'll see as we go through these different varieties at the end of summer, we're very challenged with these trees because you'll see the fruit on these trees and it has survived the summer, but it's a real challenge. The reason being, these trees die back slightly during the summertime. So keep that in mind with all of these. It will be a challenge to get them through the summer months, and we're gonna share with you some of the ways that we've done that. So of course, the first thing that you'll notice with some fruit is we actually have them covered. I want to show you that real quick. So you can see here that we use the organza bags to protect the fruit. It's predominantly to protect them from birds, and it's done a pretty good job. Now, we're gonna go ahead and show you one of these that has actually fallen from some really heavy wind last night, because we've actually started harvesting to test the ripeness, because honestly, we're not exactly sure when these are gonna be ripe for us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip to the other side of the tree. Let's grab the one that came off last night. This will give you an idea of the size of the organza bags. Now, this is a very, very small piece of fruit. They get 2 to 3 times this size, and it's definitely not ripe. This is very green. This one was a cutting from the old farm as well. You can see the tree is not nearly as big as that one, so it struggled a little bit in its very beginning stages and got a lot of blight on it. It's since come back, and it's actually doing pretty good. In fact, we didn't think we had any fruit on here, but I think I see a piece that needs to get covered. Did you see the same thing? A little tiny one. So now this is the one pear that we actually have on a rootstock other than what Reed uses for his pome fruit. This is a Comice Pear. I don't remember exactly where we got it. We'll leave a link down below of the nursery that we bought it from online. Now this tree's been in the ground for about 1.5 years. It was much smaller when we planted it, very, very small. So it's now just over 6 feet tall, so we got a little bit of growth. What I really wanted to show you on this tree though is how these trees grow. So now we've done a little bit of work to try to spread this out, but you can see that it grows very, very vertical. And as we look at all of the different pear trees, you'll see that all of them are doing the same thing. So unless you're gonna do something to actually help encourage the branches to move out, which we've done on a couple, it's gonna grow very vertical. So you wanna keep that in mind as you're pruning. Now, one thing I will tell you, we use a different design on these. If you guys have seen most of the trees here on the farm, it's an open center design. These are not. These are central leader designs. And part of the reason we're doing that is to protect that fruit from the sun during the middle of summer. Because again, all of these fruit need to get through our entire summer growing season into the fall in order to ripen. The tree you see behind me here is one of 2 Seckel pears. This one we had on the old farm, so we actually took cuttings from the old farm, well, Reed did, and grew these out for us. You can see though, this tree is nice and large. It's probably about 10 to 12 feet tall, and it's only about maybe 4 or 5 feet wide. So you can really see how narrow this tree goes. Now this branch here, we've encouraged to grow out, so we got a little bit of width, but for the most part, it's growing straight up. Now we did have some fruit on here and we took a harvest, so we're gonna go ahead and show you that real quick. The tree you see behind me here is one of 2 Waddell pears. Now, this pear is specifically from Reed at RSI Growers. This one he grows out for folks. Now, I don't know how often he has them available, but I know that it is a variety that he actually grows and is grown here in Arizona. Now, same problems here. It's a narrow growing tree. You'll be challenged with that. And then, of course, getting the fruit into this season. Now, one of the things that we don't know for sure about these trees is ripening. We've taken a harvest off of this tree as well, so you guys will see that. The fruit itself has a beautiful orange and reddish blush on it, especially where the sun's hitting it at least. But it looks like it's gonna be a nice sized fruit, whereas the Seckle is quite a bit smaller. So we took a harvest off this about a week ago, and we're hopeful that at least it may be ripe. Now, we don't know for sure, but we're gonna keep our fingers crossed that we got the timing right on this. So now we had a little bit of wind come through last night. It actually knocked off one of our Waddell pears. Give you guys another idea or an example of what these pears look like. You'll see there's a beautiful reddish orange blush on the sun side of the tree, and then it's green where it was shaded. We had talked a little bit about how we're pruning these and trying to give more shade and protection for that intense summertime sun. So we'll see how this affected how this fruit tastes. Now, this fruit that came off last night is actually not ready to eat. It's not ripe yet. One of the things about pears is that they don't ripen completely on the tree. You have to remove them from the tree at the right time, and then you have to blet them on the counter or set them out on the counter and let them ripen on the counters. That usually takes a week or 2. So what we've done is we did a harvest about a week ago of some of the Waddell and Seckle pears. We placed them on the counter. Now a week later, the small Seckle pears are starting to soften just a bit on the stem end, which tells me that they're ready to eat. Now what we're not gonna do today is we're not gonna actually try them on camera, because all of our taste testing we now do on the Desert Farmer podcast. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to tune into that one. We're gonna try these on camera live to see whether or not we have the timing right. But what we do know is we do know that these fruit have survived the summer season with some of the things you've seen us doing here today. There's a very good chance, at least it appears as though, we're gonna be able to get some ripe fruit into the fall. What's incredible is we have pome fruit in September and October, which is really hard to find here in Phoenix. So just wanna thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on this newly established functioning farm and would love to see you on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, those go in the comment section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just wanna thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. But then you'll have a random cat that'll just climb up into the tree with you. Have you been the one that's been taking all the fruit? Huh, buddy? I'm getting distracted.
Yeah.
He's doing pretty good. Oh, he's done. So you'll see we have a piece of fruit right here that's covered with an organza bag. Thanks, Lori. This one, hi, Willow. Hey, sweet girl.